Good evening, and welcome to the series of talks that we're going to have by the Institute of Spiritual Enlightenment. I'm Rev Dorita Dixon, and I am one of the co-founders of the Institute of Spiritual Enlightenment. And today's topic, we're going to talk about who we are. I know a lot of times when we ask that question of who are we think about we take into consideration our physical selves as opposed to our spiritual selves. It is my belief and understanding that our spiritual self is that self that underlines everything that we do in our world. Everything that we reflect comes from that spiritual being. So therefore, if the spiritual part of us is intact and that spiritual part is in complete understanding, then everything that we do, touch, words that we speak, our actions are underlined with that spiritual truth. It is thought that our churches of today's society would be the ones who would assist us in building our spiritual selves. However, the church themselves are now in a state of distrust, a state of falling apart, a state of disillusion for a lot of people because they're not receiving the direction in which they thought that they would receive from the church. I myself, as a young woman coming up, sought the shelter and understanding of the church, and I was just given as you get older, my child, you'll understand. Well, I'm older and I still don't understand. So we're going to talk about our spirit on this first segment. We're going to talk about who we are and how do we identify with ourselves. The main place where we usually identify ourselves is with our physical body. And to me, the physical body is just the shell that we carry the spiritual body within. So if the spiritual body is being carried within the shell, that shell has to be well taken care of. Just as much as the spiritual side of us, because if that spiritual shell is not taken care of, then we cannot truly and completely express who we are as a spiritual being. So what do we do to take care of that physical body? Well, the first thing is that we have to have nutritional food. We know also that the foods that we're eating now are genetically engineered so that we're not getting the optimum value of our food, because if you're eating grapes that have no seeds or watermelon that have no seeds, then it's like saying a woman, who's supposed to be able to give birth to a child cannot give birth to a child because the seeds are removed. So that's the most nutritional part of the fruit. So we want to be aware of the types of fruits and vegetables that we're eating and the meats that we're even if you're not a vegetarian, that you're putting in your body, because we know that the meats now are genetically engineered as well, that they're being pumped with hormones. The beef is being fed beef, and that's why we have mad cow disease. I mean, you'd be mad too if they made you eat your relative. So the breads that we eat, the minerals that we take into our body, are we taking sufficient amount of minerals in our body? Are we taking the proper minerals for our particular body? So all of these things come into play. The water that we drink, are we drinking a high protein, a high pH balance amount of water? So these are just some of the things that we're going to touch on in these series of topics. And we will continue this for a couple of sessions until we understand, and at least we have something to work with the spirituality of ourselves. Who we are. We are melanated people. We are considered to be Negro. We've been considered to be colored, Black, African American. I know that we all identify with either one of those labels, if you will, of who we are as these melanated people. But I've come to discover that we are none of those. We are who our ancient ancestors were. This is a topic that we never seem to really want to talk about. We really never want to talk about slavery. I mean, and really that's about as far back as we even go with our history of who we are. We go back to slavery. But we go back as far back as billions, millions of years. We have been the people who walk this earth. So there's a great deal of history about us that is now being researched and rewritten as our own melanated people are starting to understand who we are. Now, I've been using that word melanated, and I don't know if everybody is aware of it, but melanated is the melanin that we find in our skin that gives us the hue that we are, and this is why we are called human, H-U, human. This is why we're called the human, because of melanation that is in our skin. Now, I also talked about a brief about being considered colored, Negro, Black, African American. These are also labels that have been given us over the years. But we are who our ancient forefathers were. And who were our ancient forefathers? Some of them say that we are the Moors. I tend to believe that we are those ancient Moors living here now in what they call America, which the Moors called Amexima. And this was the land which was owned by the Moroccan Empire. So all of us were not brought over from Africa on those ships. Many of us were already here living in this land, and we will call it the Indians of this land. Because Columbus, when he was traveling, thought that he was going to India, so when he saw those beautiful brown bodies on the beach, he called us Indians. And that name has stuck with us over the years. Now, I know in your mind you're probably thinking, well, what about the American Indian? You know, because when I see that American Indian has long flowing hair and his skin is much lighter, almost white. Well, I tend to think that what had happened to that skin coloration at that time is that if you remember when Columbus got here, there were a lot of beautiful women here, and those men had not seen women in a very long time. So what did they do? They had sex with these very fertile, beautiful women of this land. And those Indians, those children, lost the melanin in their skin, but they kept the hair quality. So, and these are the variations that you see that today, today and in the 1800s, what you saw were very fair-skinned people with long, the long flowing hair once again. So that's where those Indians stayed. So I believe that's how that Indian came about that we see today, with the fair skin and the long hair. Now, there were a lot of us who did not get raped by the Indians, and that is the more melanated being that we see today that are still here on this landmass. And our ancestors who were slaves of that time are still here. So we didn't just come out of nowhere. We had a beginning, and we are still here. So we need to start understanding, well, who are we? Who are these Moors? What were the Moors? And what land did they own? And how powerful they were. This is who we are. We are not just descendants from slaves. I mean, that's what the history books would have you to think, because when you start in school and you read about history, our history starts from slavery, from the time that they brought us over on the various ships. But even with that, we need to start understanding that information and start being proud of who and what we are, and not seeing so many of our understanding of who we are through European eyes, because everything that we're taught, everything that we eat, everything that even our thinking comes through European eyes of what they say that we are. So now it comes that we have to start doing our own research to understand that there were ancient Moors who were here, who were shipbuilders, who were builders of the land, that they farmers, that we were these people, and that we continue to be those people of today. Our young men now are being less than who they think that they are losing their own identity by wearing their pants down. We are quickly spiraling in a downward flow. We need to start bringing ourselves up by understanding who and what we are as a people, of a proud race of people. So how do we get in touch with who we are? How do we do that? Well, there's a process called meditation. And through the process of meditation, we can get in touch with understanding the true quality of the being that we are. And a lot of times people ask me, well, how do I start to meditate? There's a variety of ways of how we can start to meditate. But the short and fast of it is that when you can turn off the music, just take the TV off, turn the TV off, and just sit there and be quiet. Tell your body to be still. Make your body now start minding you. Even if you feel like you have to sneeze, if you feel like you have to scratch, itch, and you tell that itch to be still, peace, be still. Once you're able to allow the body, the physical body, to be still, then you can take your imagination, your intention and attention totally inside of you, and you get still until you can feel the stillness of your body, that there is no movement within the body, but yet the mind is open, it's receptive, and it is active. The mind is at a state where it is able to open up for the universe to drop pearls of wisdom into that mindset. Now when you do this, when you find yourself being at that still point, you can allow any tensions, dis-ease, discomforts, any wandering thoughts, to imagine those thoughts being released from your body. If you're laying down, you can imagine those thoughts being dissolved like a vapor leaving your body. Or if you're sitting up in a chair, you can imagine those thoughts being released from the head down and just flowing out the body into the feet, into the ground. Now, why do I say take those negative feelings into the ground? Our earth is alive, and she loves to receive what you may perceive as being negative energy or discomfort, sickness or illnesses. Because what the Mother Earth does when she receives this type of energy from us, the inhabitants of this earth, is she takes them and she grinds them up into minerals so that they can be used again. So because nothing is ever lost, everything is recycled, so don't feel bad about giving your negative energy to, say, a tree, because you can go and hug a tree as well. But we're talking about meditation, and when you're releasing that energy into the earth, allowing that negativity to go into the earth to be transformed into minerals. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the stress and the strain that's in the body. The body is at relaxation. There should be a time of day that you have decided on when to meditate. So you decide on what time of day is best for you. You may decide that 5 o'clock in the morning is the best time for you to meditate. And you get up and that time doesn't work for you. Then you keep working until you have established a time, whether it's 5 a.m., 2 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever your time is. Then whatever your time becomes, you keep your appointment. If you say that you're going to meditate every day at 12 noon, then every day at 12 noon, you should be there to meditate. And once you're there to meditate, what happens is that your universe comes there and meets with you at that time and allows itself to meditate on you. And you start feeling the energy of the universe, and you can ask a question of this great universe, and what it does is drop seeds of wisdom into your consciousness. And as it starts dropping these seeds of wisdom in your consciousness, you start understanding your mission here on this earth and what it is that you need to do and how you need to do that. And what starts happening is that there is a protection that starts being built around your own physical body, because now you're making a connection and a union with the universe, with the Creator, with all that is, that all that the universe is to be. So you start knowing when to make your moves, when not to make your moves. You start knowing what is my yeses and my nos. Before you get ready to do anything in life, you start understanding that, making that connection with the meditation. Meditation is a very soothing way for us to get in control of our physical world, get in control of our physical body, and make a divine union with the universe. Okay, so we've talked about a little bit about the meditation, of how we get ourselves situated for meditation. Now, a lot of times people like to use various props. We like to use color. Some people like to use crystals, incense, music, and then where do we actually meditate? All of these things are important. We can meditate anywhere. Anywhere. You can go into a closet, wherever you're not going to be disturbed, where the telephone is off, the TV's off. Now, music. Do we want music or we don't want music? So the first tries of getting yourself ready for meditation, you may turn on some music. You may light some incense. You may want to hold a crystal in your hand. And if you do use a crystal and you're just now starting with meditation, I would suggest that you use a clear crystal in the beginning. Now, just a short little deviation from what we're talking about in using that crystal. The first thing you want to do when you're going to use a crystal like that is that you're going to want to clean it. And the best way, if you have nothing else, just clean water from the tap is good. Just clean that crystal. Now, if you have some salt, and any type of salt, sea salt of course is the best, but if you have Morton salt or any of the general salts that you can get from your local stores, then buy that salt, put your crystal in it, and let it soak for 24 hours. Once you've had it soaking for the 24 hours, then you can use it with your meditation. Now, how do you use it? You can put it underneath your chair that you're using. You can hold it in your lap, or you can hold it in your hands. Some people like to lay down with their crystals and put them, along the energy vortexes of the body. But that's the utilizing of the crystals. Incense. What type of incense do you want to use? You can use whatever is pleasurable to you, whatever makes you feel relaxing, whatever makes you feel at one with the universe. As you start getting a little bit more proficient in the use of your meditation time, you may want to change and alter the various incense. We've already known what time, we've decided what time you're going to be meditating. Now, the room, the place. Like I said, you can be in a closet, I wouldn't suggest that you use your bedroom, because too many activities go on in the bedroom and you don't want that. You really want it to be a place that's a little bit more secluded, like a closet, or some place that you've designated within your house that doesn't get a lot of traffic. What do you need to use in the meditation? A chair. Some people like to sit on the floor, as long as the spine is erect and the spine is straight. That is considered our magic wand, that spine within our body. This is where the energy flows up and down. This is where the Kundalini energy can rise through those energy vortexes within the body and reach the crown chakra. Once that energy reaches the crown chakra, it pours out like a fountain around us, creating our spiritual protection. So you want to be able to sit in an erect fashion. Now, whether your legs are crossed or uncrossed, preferably, because we're in the West, we like to sit with our feet flat on the floor. so that we can make our divine connection to the earth with our heads held high to the sky, so that that pineal gland can open up and feel the sensation of the universe making its connection to us. So those are the different things and props, if you will, that we use during meditation, but of course none of those things are even necessary. Music. You'll be experiencing on what type of music, or if you don't want any music at all and you want to be in the total silence of the universe. If you feel little movements going on in your body, that's just your universe speaking to you. Meditation is probably the best way that we can get in touch with who we are. Meditation. When we are meditating, there are certain things that we experience in this time of meditation. And some of the things that we can experience are our thoughts. We can have, you're sitting down, you've prepared the room, you're at your time, your incense is burning, your music is going, and you decide to meditate now. And then you start having this feeling of, oh my God, I was supposed to pick up the laundry. Oh, what am I going to wear tomorrow? You know, these thoughts will come. When you find yourself experiencing these type of thoughts, either you can say to yourself, peace, be still, and allow that thought to pass through. Or you can give yourself a mantra. And a mantra is something that will always pull you back to your oneness, to the reason why you're there in the first place. Now the mantra can be an Om that we and when you sound that Om, what that does, it will silence those thoughts, or it should, I should say, silence those thoughts within inside of your body and make you feel the oneness of who you are within your beingness. You can have a thought, you can have peace, be still can be your mantra that brings you back into that oneness. I am one with the universe is an excellent one. I am strong and peaceful and calm can be another mantra that you would use to silence those thoughts. Now, sometimes when we're into meditation, we can feel a sort of like a fluttering on the cheek, or like something is passing you. And what is happening at those particular times is that we're passing through the levels of psychic, the psychic level. And on the psychic level are a lot of, I like to call them little critters. And they try to get your attention, and they want you to think, to distract you and have you to stay on that psychic level. The psychic level is one of the levels that you'll be passing through. So your job is to keep yourself focused on the intention and attention of what it is that you're doing, which is meditating, finding that one quiet place within inside of your being and making your connection to the universe. So you may feel something rub against your cheek, and this is nothing to be frightened of, because you know that we are the goddesses of this universe, and in that knowingness, you surround yourself with the protection of either white light, or you can surround and protect yourself with fire, or anything that you find that is a protector or fortifier for your beingness. So those are some of the things that you'll find if you find that your nose is itching, you want to sneeze, you feel that you have to go to the bathroom. All of these things are indication that your body is now trying to distract you from being in the oneness, because your body has been so accustomed to living in this world that we have of instant TV, you know, always doing something, always movement. So that the body now does not want to sit quietly and to be controlled, if you will, by you when you are the controller. So all of these things are little indications that you need to tell the body, peace, be still. And you can start practicing these things even before you go into meditation. If you have a desire to sneeze, see if you can make yourself not sneeze. See if you have an itch, if you can make yourself not itch by just telling yourself not to itch. What this is doing now is making your mind stronger, because every time you make yourself obey yourself, you become stronger, you become more fortified with the strength, that inner strength that is already within you, waiting for you to become your God or goddess of your physical beingness. So, now that we've talked about meditation, we're going to talk about accessing our true selves, that inner self that's, now that we've learned how to calm ourselves, we've learned how to control our bodies, to use the energy vortexes of our body, how now do we access the true self? There's been a part of us, we call ourselves a person. When you look in the Black Law's dictionary and you see what is a person is a mask. So there is a mask that we have been wearing, and we have been considering that to be our true selves. Through the process of us meditating, we've now learned that some of those masks that we've been wearing, some of the actions that we've been doing, have not been really truly reflecting the being in which we are. Because as we have learned to meditate, we've become a little bit more gentler. We've been learning how to become a little bit more calmer, a little bit more focused, a little bit more purpose-driven, if you will, through the act of meditation. We've not allowed our society to make us do things just because it is the fashionable thing to do. We've learned to focus ourselves a little bit more. So as we've learned to focus ourselves a little bit more, we've learned that there's certain things that we no longer need or desire. And as we start learning the things that we need, that we truly need and not just desire, then the true essence of us starts coming out. If we've been sarcastic, we realize that that's not a necessary thing that we need to do any longer through our meditation. We know that we need to speak our truth, and then we also have learned, well, what is my true truth? You know, what is it of me that I want people to see all the time, constantly, 24/7, that I don't have to continually to wear these various masks, if you will. You start knowing who you are, and no matter where you are, you can truly be yourself without the influence of our society telling us what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. You do and you act and you speak from your authority, you speak from the wisdom that you have gained through these times of meditation. You start understanding truly your purpose in this world. And your purpose in this world may only to be just to have a wonderful smile. If that is, so be it. Your purpose in this world is to be someone who tells the truth and knows how to modulate that truth when you're giving it to someone, that you're not telling them in such a way that's going to do any type of hurt or harm to them or yourself. So when we start learning about who we are and accessing that true ability that's within inside of ourselves, we also allow other people to be themselves. We allow them to be truthful with us, and in the process of them being truthful with us, they're not doing hurt or harm to us either. And as we both learn how to do that, then we start having a unity and a trust between the two people. We learn how to trust. We learn how to access our true self, and then access the true self within inside of that person too, so that they can help us grow. This is how we become a unity or a unified group of people. when we allow ourselves this access. And we do this through the process of meditation. The process of meditation opens us up to the universe and a vast world that lies totally and completely within inside of ourselves. We learn the essence of what we call unconditional love.